Hi, I'm Daniel Andrews, owner and creator of Andrewsfootball.com. Welcome to my video breaking down the Dallas Cowboys. If you're new to my channel, there's this button right down here. See it, see it, see it. Bam! Hit that button. Become one of the greatest people on planet Earth. My channel is scientifically proven to make all your wildest dreams come true. So here's how my breakdown videos work. I break down what I like. Then I break down what I don't like, but stick around to the end where I break down the Vegas over-under, and if you should put action down on the Dallas Cowboys. Now, let's talk about what I like. You know how they got that star on the helmet? Well, this is a team full of star power. The NFL does a thing where they release the top 100 players voted on by the players, and the Cowboys led the list. They got 8 players. They got Byron Jones, who was number 97, LVE. Hey, listen, if you're a Cowboys fan, you don't know who I'm talking about when I say LVE, you shouldn't be watching this anyway, but come on, you know who I'm talking about. He's 74, Amari Cooper 64, Jalen Smith 61, Zach Martin 59, Tyron Smith 52, DeMarcus Lawrence 45, Zeke Elliott 18. I was really surprised Dak Prescott did not make the list, but he did go to the Pro Bowl. So every single position group had a player. I'm putting wide receivers and tight ends together. Okay, so they didn't have a tight end, they didn't have a quarterback, but they had a receiver. And every single position group, they had somebody in the NFL top 100. And this list is voted on by the players, so the Cowboys led the league with 8. Very, very impressive. Second thing I like about the Dallas Cowboys, and I could spend a whole hour talking about how much I'm in love with their linebacking crew. LVE and Jalen Smith are basically how if you were to say, build me an NFL linebacker, either one of these guys, it's actually funny because the Tampa 2 defense is designed to use smaller, faster linebackers. Well, they got 2 guys that are like 6'4", 250 and run like deer. I mean, it's absolutely freaky and crazy to watch. And then you got Sean Lee, who's the third guy. They play a lot of nickel, so he's the guy who comes in and out. Sean Lee's one of my all-time favorite players. And one of the things I really love about Sean Lee is that I know when he was at Penn State, he had an injury. He had to sit out a whole year. Unlike a lot of players, he actually became a coach. He was actually coaching in the film room. He was coaching at practice. He was actually helping coach up the players. And that was something I really respected about Sean Lee. So I'm under the impression, since he did that in college, because he's he's coming to the end of his career, that he's doing the same thing with these 2 young, uber-talented linebackers. So I really think he's a coach on the field. But bottom line, you get these 3 linebackers on the field, there's not a better 3 in football. If there was a better linebacking crew in the NFL, comment. Let me know who it is, right? But for my money, give me those 3 linebackers for Dallas Cowboys. Matter of fact, I'm a Chiefs fan. Sean Lee's the linebacker number 3. He would be the best linebacker on the Kansas City Chiefs right now today. And he's the guy who sits out when you go to nickel. So that's a very talented group of linebackers you got. Third thing I like is that when Amari Cooper, they made the trade for Amari Cooper, then they lost that game on Monday night. But after that, they won 7 out of their next 8. So I always look at a team and say, how they finished the season? Well, they started 3-5. They finished 10-6. So and here's the thing. You know what changed? Amari Cooper. Well, I mean, there's probably some other things that changed, but bottom line, you bring in Amari Cooper, and he's here for the whole year now. So normally when a team ends the season hot, it usually carries on to the next year. So, I mean, just the expectations are very high in Dallas, and they should be. So to kind of recap, what I like about the Dallas Cowboys, I like the star talent. I mean, there's a player that the NFL players rank in the top 100 in every single position group except quarterback. That's tops in the league. Best linebacking crew in football, hands down. And then how'd they finish? Well, they traded for Amari Cooper. They went 7-9, including winning 7 out of the last 8. So very, very impressive. Now, what don't I like about Dallas Cowboys? I want to preface this that the Cowboys have made it clear that they think it's Super Bowl or bust. And I'm going on things I don't like for teams that are trying to win a Super Bowl. If the Cowboys, weren't public and saying Super Bowl or bust, and, I'm thinking, hey, this team's trying to win the NFC East, this team's trying to get to the playoffs, I may not have these things on there, but I'm talking about things I don't like in regards to Dallas going to the Super Bowl. So I kind of want to preface that because overall, I really, really, really am very high on the Dallas Cowboys this year. So number one thing I don't like is that out of your 6 playoff quarterbacks, you have Nick Foles. I'm talking 2018. You have Nick Foles, Dak Prescott, Mitchell Trubisky, Russell Wilson, Jared Goff, Jared Goff's 5, and then Drew Brees. I would rank Dak Prescott number 5, and that's in front of Nick Foles. But if Carson Wentz is the quarterback of the Eagles, I would have Dak Prescott as number 6. Now, I understand that there's some Cowboys fans that are probably thinking Mitchell Trubisky's better than Dak Prescott. That's my opinion, but I got kind of the man crush on Mitchell Trubisky. I was extremely high on him coming out of college, and I think he's going to be a superstar. I would put him higher than Dak Prescott because here's the thing about Dak Prescott. Is that he's a good quarterback. I loved him out of Mississippi State, okay? I like his athleticism. I love him running the ball. He's got great arm strength. But I was worried in college when I watched him. I was like, I don't think he's an accurate enough passer to be in the league. I hope he gets somewhere where he can develop because I see star potential in him. And he still could be a great quarterback. But there's an NFL scout who said this. I heard this on a podcast, is that when you break down quarterbacks, is he the tractor or is he the trailer? And when I look at Dak Prescott, I'm seeing the guy who's more the trailer. Now, Ben Roethlisberger, early in his career, he was the trailer. He turned into the tractor. Now, I loved Alex Smith, but Alex Smith was 100% the trailer. Now, you have to understand the Cowboys got everything else in place. You got a really good defense, which finished 6th in points allowed. You have a good offensive line, and you have a great running back. The Cowboys allowed 56 sacks last year, and since you had 2 of your offensive linemen in the NFL's top 100, Tyron Smith, as far as I'm concerned, may be the best left tackle in football. I put a lot of that on Dak Prescott. Let me throw you out some numbers here. 67.7% completion percentage, 3,885 yards passing, 22 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. Okay? Versus 67.7% completion percentage, exactly the same. 3,984 yards, 100 yards more, 22 touchdowns, exactly the same. 9 interceptions. So that's one's Dak Prescott, one's your opponent's, and notice how they're exactly the same. So you have the Cowboys, which were 6 in points against. They have the best linebacking crew in football, DeMarcus Lawrence, who earned $100 million, and Byron Scott, who was voted to top 100 in your secondary. But the passing game is exactly the same as Dak Prescott, but that's the guy who's supposed to carry you to a Super Bowl. I'm just saying there's no. Now keep in mind, the Cowboys run for a little more than their opponents, but bottom line, if you're a quarterback and you're supposed to be leading a team to a Super Bowl, I'm not really sure that those numbers are really good enough, especially being sacked 56 times, especially with that offensive line. So keep in mind, as much as I like Dak Prescott, when I'm looking at the other playoff quarterbacks, and if I'm flip-flopping Foles for Wentz, you got number 6. You got the worst one out of the group. Second thing I don't like is the expectations, all right? I already brought this up, but Super Bowl or bust. Now, this is kind of weird because it's Super Bowl or bust, but Jason Garrett's not signed past 2019. Normally, when you don't sign a player or a coach past the contract, it means that after the season, they're going to get rid or trade if it's a player. It's very rare for a coach. I don't remember the last time this happened off the top of my head. Normally, you re-sign them a year in advance to show some stability. Well, the Cowboys are doing just the opposite, and it's kind of cool because they're a trendsetter, and you know, bottom line, that's kind of cool that they're innovative like this. But me personally, I would like a little more stability in my organization. Let's say I'm a player for the Dallas Cowboys, and like you start off 3-5. Are you really going to listen to your head coach? Think about this, all right? You start off 3-5 again, and you know your coach isn't going to be re-signed. You start maybe freelancing, doing things that look good for you because you're thinking about, hey, you know, what happens when a new head coach comes in? Players get cut. So hey, I got to make sure I get my numbers. Maybe I don't want to block so hard. You know, if you're like a wide receiver, hey, and the play's not going to you, you're really going to bust your butt? You know, I mean, think about it, because, you know, it can create some problems. I personally don't like the instability, but keep in mind, Jerry Jones knows a little more about running an NFL team than I do. It's innovative. It's a little different. I personally don't like it because here's the thing. If you're not sold on Jason Garrett being your coach, why didn't you get rid of him in the first place? You could have gotten rid of him this year. All right, I hate to tell you this, Cowboys fans, you're not hurting for money. You could have signed the guy you want. Now, the rumor mill is newly promoted quarterbacks coach, Kellen Moore. He's now your offensive coordinator. The rumor mill is that they are grooming him to succeed Jason Garrett after this season, which I'm going to tell you something. The next 2 years, Kellen Moore is going to be an NFL head coach. All right, 2020 or 2021, he's going to be an NFL head coach, whether it's in Dallas or another city. This guy is going to be a good coach too. However, is he going to be the coach of Dallas in 2020? That's yet to be seen. I think if the Cowboys don't get to an NFC championship game, your new head coach is going to be Kellen Moore. That's just my opinion. So kind of recap what I don't like, and there's not much, but bottom line, even though you have a Pro Bowl quarterback, if the expectations are Super Bowl or bust, the guys that are in your conference, you make the playoffs with the same 6 teams. You got the 6th best quarterback. All right. For me, when I look at Dak Prescott, as much as I like him and as much as I like his game, he's not the tractor. He's the trailer. There's nothing wrong with that. And there's several teams that won with trailer as quarterback. All right. Second thing is expectations are Super Bowl or bust, and I don't like that you haven't signed Garrett to an extension. Bottom line, if you don't want him to be your if you don't want him to be your coach, you should have gotten rid of him. There's nothing wrong. This would have been a great year to get rid of him. You got Rod Marinelli, who's got head coaching experience. Keep in mind he was head coach of Detroit when they went 0-16, so it's unlikely he's going to get another opportunity as a head coach, but he could step in. And the Cowboys are a very they're a very visual. I'm drawing a blank on the word I'm trying to look for, but they're a franchise that's got a lot. They're a very appealing franchise. If you are, matter of fact, there's multiple NFL head coaches. If you could have said, "Hey, leave your team, come be coach Dallas Cowboys," multiple coaches, more than half, would probably leave because the Dallas Cowboys are a very. And you know what? I had the word in my head when I rehearsed this, but I'm drawing a complete blank right now. But they're one of the major franchises in the NFL, so they're a very elite, a good franchise, and I think most coaches would love to be the coach of the Dallas Cowboys. So if Jason Garrett is not coaching in 2020, there's going to be no list long enough because, trust me, everybody would want to coach the Dallas Cowboys. So, hey, what did I say? I said stick around to the end where I break down the Vegas over-under, and if you should put action down on the Dallas Cowboys. Well, the over-under is 9, and currently it's -110. It was even on the over and then -120 on the under, but you're going to see a lot of fluctuation in that. But I'd be, and keep in mind, I'm doing this breakdown, I'm assuming Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott are going to be available week 1. Okay? I'm going to redo this video if one or both of them are out, but I'm under the impression both these guys are going to go for week 1. Now, I think that you may be able to get better -110 if you really want, but I'm just going on -110 right now, and I would definitely recommend taking over. You hit over 9 last year despite a 3-5 start, and now you got Amari Cooper starting from day 1. So I fully expect the Cowboys. Well, I'm all excited about football season. Yeah, the preseason football's already started, so I'm sitting here. Anyway, I'm very excited about the Dallas Cowboys. Over 9 is an extremely good bet. If you're a fan of the Dallas Cowboys, I would strongly recommend putting action down on them this year. If we're just a football fan in general, over 9's a really good number. But wait, there's more! Hey, you know what? Right now, Westgate has to make the playoffs. The Dallas Cowboys, yes, to make the playoffs, +105. No is -125. So if you don't think the Cowboys are going to make the playoffs, and you have to wager $125 to win $100. But if you do think the Cowboys are going to make the playoffs, you make a $100 wager, you can win $105. Make the wager. Not only are the Cowboys going to win more than 9 games, the Dallas Cowboys are going to the playoffs. So I strongly recommend put action on over, then go ahead and double up. Put some action down on the Cowboys making the playoffs. Right now it's currently 105 at Westgate. Now if you're really, really bold, to win the NFC East, the Eagles are favored, and that's -125, but Dallas is +150. So if you think the Cowboys are going to hit the trifecta, you bet 100, you win 150. I feel very strongly about the over, and I like them to make the playoffs. So I would take those two. If you're really crazy and you want to take them to win the NFC East, you can do that, but I love the over. and I like them to make the playoffs. So listen, if you're a subscriber to Andrews Football, you already know you're one of the greatest people on planet Earth. All your wildest dreams are going to come true. But hey, if you're new to my channel, there's this button right down here. See it? It got bigger. Bam! Hit that button. Become one of the greatest people on planet Earth. Hey, over the weekend, check out some of these awesome playlists I got over here. Have a great weekend. Monday, I'm breaking down the Los Angeles Chargers. So hey, I'll see you Monday.